I've asked for the Minister for Education to provide me with an update on the status of a school's application for the construction of a permanent building and to provide a timeline for the commencement of construction. And this matter relates to a school in my own local area, indeed a small distance from where I live, the new Harold's Cross Educate Together Secondary School, which opened just recently, indeed September 2020. It is projected to reach 1,000 secondary school pupils. It is a co-educational secondary school. It's got 4 classrooms, or the projection is it will have 4 classroom special education needs unit, and it is serving the 2 school planning areas of Dublin 6 Clonskeagh and Dublin 6 West. It's currently housed, however, in temporary buildings at the site of the former Greyhound Racing Stadium at Harold's Cross. This will also be the permanent location of the school, which will form a campus comprising of the secondary school, a permanent building for the secondary school, and a permanent school for the Harold's Cross Educate Together National School, the primary school, which is currently also in interim accommodation on the same site. So I put this matter down, or I put a question relating to this school down on the 9th December last, because at that point the principal and school community had been in contact with me to say that they were concerned about the delays in progressing the construction of the permanent building on the site. And staff, students and parents are all very anxious that, the construction would be commenced, or that at least they would get a timeline for construction. So on the 9th December I put this matter down on the commencement in this House, and I was told by the Minister then that the planning application would be lodged with Dublin City Council by mid-Q1 of 2021. That would have been by mid-February. And unfortunately, I was informed just last week that the planning application was not in fact submitted to Dublin City Council by that date, and clearly now we're in mid to late March. So I've put this matter in at the request of the school community, seeking to provide a timeline for commencement of construction, and indeed to get an update on the status of the application. I was told that the planning application was at stage 2A in December, but as I say, on that date, on the 9th December, Minister Foley had confirmed to me that the planning application was intended to be lodged by the middle of the first quarter. I should say it's a very vibrant school community, both the secondary school and the primary school, and despite all the challenges of COVID, the secondary school has opened successfully and indeed has a large waiting list for 2021. There are currently 37 students enrolled for the current academic year, and I'm told that in September 2021 there is an additional 48 student places sanctioned by the department, but 180 applications have been received, and there is clearly no space available, or there will be insufficient space to accommodate projected numbers, certainly from 2022 and beyond. The school would need to offer 72 places in 2022 to meet demand. So the matter is very pressing. The students and staff and parents are all very anxious that they would receive some clarification from the department as to the status of the application and the timeline for construction of a permanent building on this site. Senator
Minister.
Thank you, Senator Patrick, for raising this matter. I hope to outline to your satisfaction the current position in relation to the provision of a permanent school building for Harold's Cross Educate Together Secondary School. It is, as you say, a co-educational second-level school which will provide 1,000 post-primary school places and a 4-classroom special education needs unit, as you say, to serve the Dublin 6 Clonskeagh and Dublin 6W school planning areas as a regional solution. And as you say, Senator, also the school opens its doors for the first intake of pupils in September 2020 in interim accommodation on the site of the former Greyhound Racing Stadium at Harold's Cross, and this will be the permanent location of the school, and the site will also form a campus accommodating the permanent school for Harold's Cross Educate Together National School, which is also, as you are aware, currently in interim accommodation on the site. And the joint building project for both schools is currently, I understand, at an advanced architectural planning stage, and an initial design for the campus was previously presented to Dublin City Council in a pre-planning meeting in August 2019. And thereafter, owing to various changes that were subsequently required to the design, a further pre-planning meeting with Dublin City Council was held on the 26th of January of this year, Senator, and the plans were met with a positive response by Dublin City Council, and the comments are being addressed, I understand, in order to finalise the preparation of the planning application for the schools. And the schools' representatives, the department tell me, will be invited to a meeting shortly where the plans will be presented in advance of lodging the planning application, which I know you mentioned was due to be in the first quarter of this year. And a previous planning permission for interim accommodation on the site was appealed to An Bord Pleanála. So I think it's important to say, Senator, that there is a strong possibility that the planning permission for the permanent build, once secured, could also be appealed to An Bord Pleanála. But I think it's good to hear that it has been successful, the actual opening of the secondary school. And I hear what you say around a waiting list. And I think it's at this point important that we get the planning application in ASAP and ensure that the school is opened as soon as possible. It is something that I will bring to the attention of Minister Foley, as obviously all buildings and the rollout of those are under her remit, but it's something that I will tell her that you're anxious to see expedited as soon as possible.
Really glad to get the update from you as to the holding of the pre-planning meeting on 26 January with the Council and your assurance that the school representatives will be invited to a meeting shortly with a view to seeing those plans. That's very heartening because certainly that is some progress, albeit it's slower than we had hoped. And I also thank you very much for your commitment to speaking with Minister Foley and to asking her to see if she can do as much as she can to expedite matters. I should say the concerns of the school community are that, and they're well aware, I think, of the context you've given, that 5-year planning permission for temporary accommodation for all 3 schools on the campus was granted in 2018, will expire in August 2023, and they're very concerned that the students currently started school already have started in temporary accommodation and should not finish it when they complete their Leaving Cert in 2026. But of course, in order to have the permanent construction in place for then, they will need, really planning would need to be granted at latest by winter 2022 or spring 2023 to ensure adequate time. So they're just anxious to get started on this, and I'm very grateful to you for telling me you'll do all you can to ensure it is expedited.
Thank you, Senator. Minister.
Thank you, Senator. And just to say, as with all school building projects, the exact time frame for the delivery of a permanent accommodation will be dependent, obviously, on securing the grant of planning permission. And until the planning permission is secured, it would be premature, really, to estimate the time frame for tender and construction of the 2 schools. However, once planning permission is secured, the project for both schools will then be progressed for tender and construction stages, and the 2 schools' management authorities will be kept fully informed also. And in the meantime, the department will continue to address the school's interim accommodation needs, which I think is important. But suffice to say, Senator, that that meeting will be soon for the school representative, where plans will be presented in advance of lodging planning, which I hope will help. And obviously to bear in mind as well my comments in relation to An Bord Pleanála also. But I will do everything I can to ensure that this is expedited. And as I said, I'll bring it to the attention of Minister Foley and indeed the Building and Planning Unit.